There's a world of pain out there. Cathar love 139. There's a world of pain out there, he smilingly said. But it's a sad fact of life. There is a lot of pain out there. And because of people that I know, friends, who are in pain, and some have diabetes, high blood pressure, psoriasis, things that seem to attack one, or certainly arrive at one's doorstep as the older one gets. The thing that comes to me is that I give them all 10 years. Being 85, what's that, mid-80s. Actually, I thought I was 86, so I've actually gained a year, because I don't think about it too often, and when I did, I had myself a year older than what I was. But anyway, the thing is that I don't take vitamins, and I don't worry particularly about diet. The thing is, I have no aches and pains. Now, occasionally I do get, I can get something, and like anybody else, but I rarely get the flu. I don't take flu vaccines. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't. I'm only just quoting myself and my opinion. But the point of what I'm trying to say is that, not that I'm better than you or anyone else, or that I know something more than what you know, or what somebody else knows. But the plain fact is, I can speak with some authority because I have arrived, and my good doctor, who has quite a large clientele, because I have to see her at least once a year, because at my age I have to check that I don't have high blood pressure and my eyes are okay and all the rest of it, because one's driving. And the thing is, as she said, I'm the only person that she has that doesn't have any chronic illness, which, by the way, includes herself, because she has hypoglycemia. So this really got me to thinking lately, and on other occasions, what is it? Because many of the people I know have really quite good diets. They're not into junk food, not into the Pepsi, Cokes and sugar-lollied drinks and things like that. They have a healthy, whatever they do eat, it's healthy, it's fresh, and fruit, veggies and meat and all the rest of it. So it's obviously not diet. And so there are a number of things. Does my being a Cathar come into it? Well, it does in some respects, but I know others who claim to be Cathars, and some are not in a good way at all. Theirs is hardly a life of bliss, whereas mine is. I have no aches and pains. And the other thing is, I think that one of the things that Catharism does, it frees you from this, in my case and a few others that I know, it frees them from this need to belong. Because Catharism is an organisation of one. Well, Catharism is me, in my case, you in your case. And it takes us, because of this, we don't have this this inner need to belong to some group, some religion, some organisation, some support group. Now, there are those who follow Buddha, Jesus, Muhammad, Moses, there's other groups that have a leader and of the mystic or humankind, and they have this need to belong. It seems to be more or less in our DNA, but I have no such need. And in fact, when people say, "Oh, I belong to this," and I feel like going, "I'm free. I don't belong to anybody or anything. I just, my purpose in life is to have a healthy mind, body, and soul, and be free of encumbrances." Now, others want or need that as encumbrances. I don't. Damnation, salvation, saving from this or saving from that doesn't come into my life. Hell, heaven, day of judgment, it's there for other people. And I say these things, but and I've said before, if one can find a decent spirit medium, where you go there and your family are there, your friends and relations, and I've spoken about spirit mediums before. I said, people say you need a good doctor and a good lawyer, and I say, no, what you want is a good herbalist and a good spirit medium. The herbalist can hopefully give you more, because I'm a Chinese herbalist, or was, or now retired, because I understand a more natural form of healing rather than the Western form. So it's a different ball game. And if one has one's spirit medium and you go there, and of course the medium doesn't know, he doesn't know you from a bar of soap, especially when they meet you for the first time. He doesn't know about Cathars or your family, and yet there they are, they're there, and he's describing them, and they're giving them messages, and the messages and chat conversations going to and fro. And you walk out and you think, well, what, all this people wandering around with religions and all these various things, and going right back to the past, and needing all these things and trying to find some secret from the past or whatever it is that's going to somehow free you. And you go, oh, well, hang on, these people are all fine up there and they're great, and and some were Catholics and some were atheists and some were or various nationalities and religions, and yet there they are. They're all they're fine, they're home, they're with their family. So you all this other stuff. So that just takes certainly some huge rocks away from that people, this burden that people carry around with them, because it's this burden of not knowing or having to believe. But once you know, there's no need for belief or disbelief. You simply know. So I recommend that anybody try and find a genuine spirit medium, and I, because your family, your friends, and I've got a lot that have gone, they're there, and they pop in and give a message, and the message that you've got is personal, because it connects. It's things that connect you between things that you and that person knew at a personal level, which the spirit medium would have no knowledge of it. So that's something that helps me be free. The other thing is, and I've spoken about it, and I really try and bring anyone who comes to me sometimes for maybe a bit of advice, and maybe a Chinese medicine can help them. But the first thing I always do, and I try and discover or uncover if they have problems at a subconscious level. They're carrying hurt and pain and anger around with them, because I think any medicine, east or whatever is basically a band-aid if you've still got this hurt and pain and anger. Because now, I subscribe and I believe that most disease, problems that we have a subconscious emotional base. And these things, these hurts, these pains, these things that have happened often in our youth from the age of 6 or 7 until the age of 20, various things, and we've been really hurt, abused, physically, emotionally, whatever, scarred, traumatized, and people carry this around, and it just affects their life and their lifestyle, their attitude. So what's the point of getting this pill or this potion or Chinese medicine or Western medicine and so forth if this hurt and pain and anger and that is still lingering within? So I make the point with anybody that I happen to be involved with who's in some form of distress, and we chat about that. And I said to this person the other day, and she said to me, "But look, I've dealt with that." I said, "Oh yes, how is that?" She said, "Well, I've this one particular person who gave everybody in the family a hard time." She said, "I've forgiven him," and she said, "I've let it go, I've released it." I said, "But the plain fact is, when you speak about it, it still distresses you, so you haven't got rid of it." So there are people that one can do regression through hypnosis. There's psychologists and there's psychiatrists and there's various people who can take you through. These are professionals, and they're professional because they charge a professional fee. But not all of us are in a position to do that. But what we can do, and which I've done, and I really went into it as deeply and as thoroughly as I could. I wrote down on paper everything that hurt me. I mean, the ones that really hurt me, I wrote down in detail first, and writing it down can be really emotional because you're going through that, your emotions rise to the fore when you're going through those experiences, some of them which can be quite horrid, and they're coming out. But this is the point. It's getting it from the idea is to get it from the subconscious to the conscious, and by putting it on paper, the paper. So what's the difference with a bit of paper? But it's like having a card, as someone explained it neatly, that having a card from one of your children when they're 3 or 4 or 5 years old, and they're writing, "Daddy, I love you." I can remember my daughter said, when I was in Vietnam, I got this card from her, and she said, "Daddy, I love you." She said, "When you come home, can you buy me a cat?" And so love, Diane. And I've still got that. And yet, how many birthday cards and Christmas cards, and well, you can't keep them all; they just disappear. But yet those number of cards I had from my children, I still keep them, I treasure them, because they're packed with emotion. So there is emotion when you write it, and it does go into that paper. And the thing is then that, in my case, I just kept on going and going, and I think it was about 3 weeks. But other people just, there's 1 or 2 things that really bug them, and that's it. And then they, when they get that down and they're putting that emotional experience, and they're putting it in detail on paper and going through and forgiving and wishing that person, if you can, health, wealth and happiness, or whatever it is. And forgiving, the forgiveness is not to let them off the hook. The forgiveness is to get that out of you and release it from you. And but it works. And this person who, probably a month ago, and we discussed it a few times, and then this person said, I did it. And I said, "Oh, yeah, what's that?" I said, "I wrote down these experiences that really annoy me, irritate me," and I really went through it, and then I burned it. I said, "How do you feel?" She said, "I didn't want to tell you it's just how free I feel." And then she was saying, even the next day, it was like walking on air. And I said, yeah, because you've taken these rocks you carry around day by day by day by day, and they're rocks that you can't bear to think about because the experiences are so horrid and so nasty and so painful, and yet you carry them around. But this person got rid of them. Now, did she get rid of it, all of it? No, but she got rid of it enough that she felt a lightness about it and felt much better within herself. Well, that's a big move forward. I have another person who's I'm helping with some herbs, and I put it to this person, and and she but still hasn't done anything about it. Now, of course, one needs space and time for oneself because it's a very private matter, but this is getting it from the subconscious where it sits and hangs around, and it gets it into a conscious form, into a physical form, that we can actually do something about it. And burn it is a good way to go. So I call me obsessive. Well, I don't think I really am, but in this case, I really, there was even every little thing that there was little things. Even that was me. I remember this guy, and I returned to my hometown in Tully, and I'd actually come back, would you believe, from the Korean War. That's a long time ago. That's about 65, 66 years ago. So anyway, and I was walking down the main street, and his name was Tommy Mullins, long gone. Hello, Tom. Anyway, I said, g'day, good morning, what it was, good morning, Tom. And he just walked past me, and I was a bit astounded because everyone says hello in a country town. So I walked up behind him, spun him around, and looked at him, and I said, I bloody well said, g'day to you. And he, oh, well, John, I'm sorry. He apologised and said g'day and so forth. So I don't think he forgot that, but I was over the top. But that's hardly a big deal. But at the same time, I didn't want that stuff hanging inside me. So I can talk about it, laugh about it, but it's of no emotional value within me. So I'm putting this forward to you because I feel, look, there's little we can do with some of the politicians we now have in power about wars, famines. We all do our bit as far as climate change. And we do what we can, and we do what we can to help. So there's things that are out of our hands, but this is something that we can do. And the people that I know, because I first learned about this, I'm going back 40 years ago, 35 years ago, and it's when I first started trying to clear this rubbish, this crap that I carry inside, and a lot of it was not of my doing. There was things that were done to me, but there was things that I also hurt other people. So it's getting both, and it's not just, it's forgiving these people, and it might be the fact that, hey, it might be a relative, like mum, you hurt me. I know that we were under stress at the time, and there was this going on, and that was going on, and business was terrible, but what you did to me, you hurt me so. You've got to, I understand, but I want you to know that you hurt me, but I want it out of me, and I forgive you for what I did, even though I understand why you did it. And so what you get rid of it. And of course, the more emotion that is packed into it, and the more emotion that comes out, this is all the stuff that's coming out. It's like anger. And I saw this eruption of anger not so long ago. But the person was really upset with their spouse and so angry with them. And it made me so angry, but that anger that bursted out, that burst asunder, this is stuff, this is hurt and pain and anger that happened to them, possibly when they were 16 or 17, 12, 20, and that hurt and pain and anger is there, and when this person presses this little button, our partners or our spouses can do at times, and as we know, and there's certain buttons you don't press and so forth, and But that can happen, and what happens is this explosion of anger. But this is that anger that's sitting and lingering inside. So if one can remove the cause of that anger, one can get that, take it from our subconscious, get it into a conscious state, and get rid of it. We're just freeing ourselves from all this hurt and pain. But it's something that we each can do. Is it dangerous? Well, well, if it's dangerous, I think it's really dangerous if it's sitting there and you're carrying around day by day, and it explodes every so often. I think that's very dangerous. I think it's dangerous if you carry it, because I think it's that hurt and pain and anger that often is the precursor to cancer and other things. It's this hurt and pain and anger within that it manifests itself physically as illness and disease. And that's why I often feel that people, look, here you are, I can give you this, and you know, this is something you can do yourself. Now, if you find that you've still got this situation problem, we can help you, that's fine. The other thing is that whether it's diet or medicine, East or Western, Chinese or in between, changing one's attitude to life, getting rid of all this rubbish that we carry within. What we are doing, we are creating through that medicine or treatment or environment, we are creating a situation whereby the body can heal itself, because it's always one's own body that does the healing. If we're being healed, it's our own body that does the healing. What we are doing is we are creating a set of circumstances that allows the body to heal or normalize itself for one's age. The other thing, so just getting stuff out. The other thing that I feel, in my case, is that I'm free. You know, I don't belong to a particular political party. I vote for who I consider best for Australia or a situation at the time. I don't belong to any group. I don't ballroom dancing. Is that a group? Well, yeah, I dance. So it's just this freedom, but others have this desperation, this need to belong, to be a part of a group. And the Catharism, it by being free, and this Catharism, it has the ability, by freeing us from all these things that religious beliefs hail on top of us, it allows us a freedom of spirit. And this freedom of spirit, this fact of being unencumbered with this group or this belief system or this way of living your life, what it does is it allows you to love. You're not confined to this group. You love being with anybody and everybody. So it's easier to live and love unconditionally for everybody and everything, and these days especially the environment. So going back to these friends and discussing, and there was no argument, we're all discussing the various types of diet and this and that. Mine is very simple. I know, and have been brought to my attention, that we were hunter-gatherers for out of the 200 million years the human species have been around. We're hunter-gatherers, most of it, apart from the last 7,000 or 8,000 years when lifestyle started to become sedentary. And these people, they were completely disease-free. They died for various reasons. And the other thing that they did do, so I follow that as a rule of thumb. And the other thing is, of course, that I've mentioned before, that I fast, and I'm looking forward to at least a week's fast soon. But I've got a few commitments and so forth I've got to get out the way. Those commitments include dinner and what have you, so I want them out the way and just want a free run for at least a week. And if I've got more, I'll fast for longer, and that means just going without any food. Because the hunter-gatherers at different times when things weren't going well, they went without food. But we now know, through modern science and research, that by fasting and going for at least 3 days, and it's the fourth day when things really, the last one I did on that fourth day, it's like taking 20 years away from you, and you think, wow, this is how I'd like to be for the rest of my life. And you just feel so good, you just feel so light. And boy, oh boy, you gain time. You're not worrying about breakfast, you're not worrying about preparing lunch, and you're not worrying about preparing the evening meal. You switch off, you save money, you're not shopping for food. So there's a few positives in that way too. You can put a few pennies in your pocket if you want to. I don't suggest it's a great way to save, but in fact you do. But fasting, there's many things to it, but the big thing is that when one's body goes into ketosis, the body thinks it's starving, and one gains a new immune system. You get stem cells. It's great for your memory. You're giving your body a rest. It helps it detoxify itself, and then when you start eating food, you just don't gulp it down, and then you eat really good food. In my case, I know a few herbs that I take, and so I start bringing those things in, so my body is having really absolutely pure goodness. I would be all the foods that I think that are really good for one, and which is mainly fruit and vegetables. So I bring them in, and but as I said, I follow the hunter-gatherer thing. So if when I go out and I dine with somebody, I dine with whatever they're dining on. And I enjoy it. So it's all coming back to this health, because people, often say, John, is there things that you do that keeps you in good health? And of course, it's hard to just, because there's a number of factors that I feel, in my case, which have contributed to mine, to my situation and my good health. And no aches and pains, and not taking vitamins every day like my friends. I'm not suggesting that you don't. And it's just not easy to explain. And it's certainly not easy to explain that I am free of all this, I wouldn't say all, but I'm as free as much of the stuff, the rubbish inside, that I can get rid of, and that I know how to get rid of through bringing it from the subconscious to the conscious, and then writing it down and looking at it, going through any emotion that's involved with that, and then burning it and getting rid of it. Does it get rid of it all? I wouldn't say it does, but it gets rid of most of it, and it certainly gets rid of the most hurtful part. And this way, it's then not manifesting itself as disease, not being at ease. Catharism, yes, the way I look at things through Catharism, and trying to be a loving person, and allowing people to be themselves. And the other good thing about Catharism is that Cathars don't have to be evangelists, as it was put to me. Catharism is spread by emanation, and it seems that when you are ready for it, you don't have to find it; it finds you. And I just see from various comments and letters that I have, it's as though Catharism found them rather than they found Catharism because a set of circumstances arrived and suddenly they picked up a book about it or whatever it is, or maybe tuned into one of my videos or whatever. But it's as though Catharism has found them, that they're ready for that particular outlook. All the best, and I do wish you health and happiness, and I do believe if we can get rid of the internals, the externals will be fine. Bye for now.